All right, we should be good to go and live. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, there we go. Much better, a little maximized. I hope that you guys are doing well, had a good weekend. I will wait for you guys to get connected here. Let me know if you have tuned in. Just give me a hello in the chat. We have something pretty cool for you for this session, and it is going to be hot topics. So we'll touch on that in just a moment. If it is your first time tuning in, maybe you just got access to all of this stuff and weren't on last week, then welcome. Definitely let me know that as well, please. So if you've been on a bunch of the sessions, let me know that. If this is your first week getting onto sessions, please let me know that as well. I see Melissa McCarthy saying good morning. Welcome back. I feel like you've been a top attendee, Melissa, so we appreciate you. What else we got? Okay, so huge updates for this week. One, we are still in the midst of our biggest Black Friday sale ever. This started actually on November 10th, so we want to let you guys know about that. November 10th is when it all began. It is going to be happening until December 1st. We're not trying to be tough love or mean people, but we're saying it as many times as we can because we can't have people coming in on December 2nd and December 3rd trying to still get this. It is a sale from November 10th until December 1st. Our finance team and accountants do not like when we do extra stuff after we said we were going to do it. So please, November 10th through December 1st, plenty of time to figure it out. You don't need any special link to get the discount. It's right on the main website, although I can give you a direct link, which makes it a little bit easier. I'll put that in the chat for you. It's fdntraining.com/BF25. So like Black Friday 25. Haley said, I've watched every replay. Not bad. Welcome back. That's great. So today is going to be a little bit different. We have two sessions for you. And these will be the only sessions this week that don't have case studies. So in this particular session, we're about to replay a hot topics. We can't do them live ever because we have people on there that do share about their personal lives and stuff, and they are trainees in the course. We always want to be respectful to their privacy. And so we asked them beforehand if we could replay this. So if you guys heard about this on the graduate and trainee roundtables, everyone said that Hot Topics was one of their favorite surprises that they got while in the course. Well, this is it. So just remember while you're watching this, I think that there is such a grounded way that Elizabeth has of explaining things. So you're learning very technical things in the course, but Hot Topics is what you're about to watch, and you can just see how grounded it is, how we take things that are very complicated and are able to bring it to a simpler level, make it very conversational so that people can digest the information better. So we're about to do that. And then I think I'm losing my mind here. I have no idea what time it is. I want to say 5 o'clock Eastern. Let me double check for you guys really quick before I tell you something that's not true. Yes, 5 o'clock Eastern. Elizabeth will be on live with us, our education director, to talk about the FDN methodology. So she'll be doing a talk on cortisol and why it's one of the most important things that we look at. You guys will get to see that. And I did ask her for Holly to be throw in some intake forms there. So I don't know if Holly's on. I don't see her yet. I see some good mornings from some other folks. Good morning to you guys as well. If Holly, you are on, we're going to try to get some intake forms for you there in the Q&A. The rest of the week, we have case studies. It's going to be nuts. The case studies are so much fun. We just did some of these in October, but we're bringing them to this Black Friday event. And you guys are going to see some of the most experienced FDN practitioners present live for you. They are going to show you what problems their clients had, go over all the lab tests, very advanced stuff. We have a lot of cool labs that are going to be happening this week, and then show you the protocol and how these clients got better. That is all starting tomorrow with a great friend of mine, a former clinical advisor here, an FDN for over 8 years, and my business partner, Ryan Monahan. We did have to take Jen Sino off the schedule. Everything is overall okay now. And she shared this publicly. That's the only reason I'm sharing it. Her husband, unfortunately, got into a very serious car accident. And the guy was actually in a coma for a short period of time. And so thank God he's out of it. I do not think he's doing too well pain-wise, but he's here with us, which is what matters the most. Jen has a baby, and Jen has another baby coming on the way. And so the last thing they need right now is for this to be going on. And we're just so glad that Chris, her husband, at least is alive. He's here. He's still himself, and he will make a recovery. It's probably just going to be a long road. So if you are the praying type, she asked if you could pray for her and her family. Her name's Jen Sino, and his name is Chris. So we'd appreciate that. I am still trying to fill in that second session for you guys. With all due respect, obviously my top priority when Jen texted us that was not to just immediately get another case study. I wanted to figure out things with her first, but we are trying to fill in that case study now. And it's looking good. It might not be at the same time, but it is looking good that I can get you guys another one on Wednesday or whatever that might be. So a lot of fun stuff this week. If you have questions as we're going along here, please ask them in the chat. I'm going to tune in with you guys at the end of this recording, but this is going to be hot topics, and really excited that you guys get to see this because we've hyped it up so much. So we weren't sure if we were going to get one in the mix, and here you guys go.
Was anybody else new today? Cindy.
So I'm not new to Hot Topics, but this is the first time that I've actually been able to join the Zoom live. So I'm super
Amazing.
excited that we're starting off at 1 and I'm here.
That's amazing. Yeah. Where do you live, Michelle?
I'm in Connecticut. I'm
Okay.
in Manchester, Connecticut.
Awesome. And where are you in the course?
I actually just submitted yesterday my written exam.
Good for you, Michelle.
Thank you.
I'm so proud
I
of your
can see the
progress.
light.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Dr. Mindy, I think you keep trying to raise your hand to say that you're new. Is that correct?
I think I am. I might have been here last week, but I've been catching up on the hot topics, and so I'm not sure which were live and which were Memorex.
No,
But
yeah, no worries. No worries.
I'm in. I'm done with module 3. I joined during
you.
Holistic Health Week.
Oh, wow.
I'm a federal employee, so I'm on furlough at the moment. So I've been hitting it hard before we go back to work, hopefully soon.
Where do you live?
Technically Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
But I'm all over. I actually live in my RV and travel the country. So Tampa is my home base. I'm sitting in rural West Virginia right now.
Wow. All right. Well, that's very, you're on the move and you're waiting for the government to reopen. Wow.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
It's hard to go weeks and weeks and weeks without paychecks. So hopefully we'll get something worked out before long. That's why I'm looking for a backup plan. I can't keep doing this.
Totally. Yeah. And hopefully there will be back pay once the government reopens.
Yeah, I mean that is the good thing. They say that there will be, but at this point you just don't know what's coming around the corner. So
that's so true. Yeah. All right. Well, great to meet all of you guys. Everyone, welcome. Okay. So here we are at module 1. And I really love module 1 because I really love talking about vital reserve and homeostasis and all of these kind of vital concepts. So the first question I want to pose to you, and if you've been with me in previous rounds, you know the answer to this question already. What is the number 1 priority commodity for the body?
Energy.
Energy. Very good, Jody. Why is energy so important to the body?
We don't function well. Our cells can't replicate. Our everything gets out of whack, out of homeostasis.
We literally have to have energy for our cells to do their jobs. So if we don't have energy, we die. It's that simple. The cells have to have energy to do their job. So that's great, Jody. So why is energy such a problem for the body? Why is it not predictable? I'm asking you to think from an evolutionary standpoint. What are the obstacles to producing energy for the body?
Good morning. There could be environmental issues, could be very cold, could be very hot, could be lack of water, could be lack of food, could be all kinds of, the list goes on, and the body has to keep shifting for those basic reasons and others.
Absolutely. Kedzie, Heather, I saw a lot of people weighing in there. That's exactly right, is that energy is dependent on external inputs to the body. The body cannot keep producing energy without things coming in. And so we are then reliant for survival on the external environment. And the external environment, especially back in those days, was incredibly chaotic. Is there going to be water? Is there going to be a famine? Are there going to be animals that I can hunt and kill? Are there going to be things growing? Or am I going to be without food for a week? Am I going to not have water for 3 days? Is it going to be super cold? Is it going to be a long winter where food is super scarce and I'm never going to have quite enough to satisfy what I need to thrive? These are the questions that the body doesn't know the answers to historically. And so because of that, the body says we have to learn to use energy in the most efficient way possible. I do not want to use an ounce of energy that I do not have to, because I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to walk out of my cave and there's going to be no food for a week, or I'm not going to have any water, or it's going to be 20 below zero, or it's going to be 100, and I'm going to run through all of my energy, trying to get my bodily functions done. So the body has learned that energy is gold. It is the thing that has to be conserved at all costs. That makes our bodies incredibly efficient at using energy. It makes our bodies incredibly efficient at distributing resources where they need to go. If there are too many resources in one place and not enough in another, the body's going to redistribute those resources. It makes our bodies also good communicators. Like, where does this need to go? And our ability to utilize energy effectively and to give ourselves room to predict, like, what's going to happen within the next 5 minutes, what's going to happen within the next 2 hours, and what do I need to prepare for that? That is the difference between life and death. That's the difference between life and death, is how effective are our bodies at predicting what the needs are going to be. And because of that, the body's main concern is right now, 2 minutes from now, 5 minutes from now, 2 hours from now. It's not 20 years from now. It's not 10 years from now. It's not 30 years from now. It's not how well am I going to age when I'm 90. It is, how do I get through this moment right here to make sure that I see 5 minutes from now, 2 hours from now, 3 hours from now. So the priority is always right now. And we see that in things like the healing of wounds. Like, let's say we have broken our ankles. Today, I can go to the doctor, I can get that set into a cast, and it's going to heal really well. It's going to heal nearly perfect. It still won't be back to 100% what it was before I broke it, but it will heal to nearly perfect. But that's because we've learned how to set those injuries and how to deal with those injuries. Back in the day, the body says, how do I fix this just enough so that I'm not crippled? How do I fix this just enough so that I can still run? How do I fix this just enough so that I can still walk 20 miles? And it may hurt. It may never be lined up right, but it's going to get me by. So the body is constantly prioritizing, what do I need to do right in this moment to be able to make it to the next moment? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, awesome. So you all have heard me talk about this a lot, but there is this concept called vital reserve. Who wants to tell me what vital reserve is? Go ahead, Crystal.
Go ahead.
Our body's energetic bank account. It's like our trust fund.
Yeah, very good. Body's energetic bank account. Rupina, do you have anything to add to that?
No, it's the secret bank account that we're all born with. It's full at the time of birth, but we don't know how much money there is, depending on our time of birth, if it was vaginal, C-section, what have you. So it is full, but again, we don't know how much there is.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. So I love that you are all already thinking of vital reserve as a bank account.
So also I wanted to add that it's your energy bank account, but it's after you take away all the internal stressors that are constantly removing the reserve from the bank account.
That's correct. Yep. So the vital reserve is how much money your body has to spend. That's what it is. So you're all already familiar with this bank account analogy. That's fantastic. And where does the body spend money? So Rhonda has said internal stressors, good. Where else does the body spend money?
On the external world.
On the external world, abso-freaking-lutely. And so if at the end of the day, the tiger, exactly right, Em. So if at the end of the day, there is vital reserve money left in your bank account, congratulations, you get to live to see another day. If at the end of the day, your vital reserve bank account is in debt, things start to go wrong. And so if you're in debt for a day, that's fine. You can recover from that. If you're in debt for a couple weeks, that's fine. You can recover from that. If you're in debt for a few years, this is when we start to see metabolic chaos. This is when we start to see the inability to cover those losses, the inability to pay the bills internally. And the external world doesn't stop, right? It keeps coming at us and at us and at us. And the body is going to constantly prioritize the external world because historically, that is where the biggest threat lies. Historically, the body says, all right, I am meant to encounter a stressor. It can be really big, but it should be short-lived and it should be occasional. So for those of you in your lives, do you have stressors that are really big? Yes. Are they short-lived? No. Are they occasional? No. So what does that do to the vital reserve bank account? That's right. So we keep draining and draining and draining the vital reserve bank account to the point where we're in debt. And there's no way now to get back in the black. There's no way now without a massive infusion of cash to get back to an even keel. And so FDN is that massive infusion of cash. That's what FDN is. And so we do that by trying to remove as many costly things in the environment as we can. Can I make my relationship better? Can I have a different relationship with my job so it's not so draining? Can I change out all of my personal care products? Can I like stop drinking wine every night? Like all of these things add money back into the bank account. And then we try and measure where the bank accounts in the body are in debt and by how much, or where they're overspending. Like a lot of times we have one system borrowing from another so that it can spend wildly, and then the system being borrowed from is way, way in debt. And that's when we start to see imbalances arise. So that's very good, guys. All right. So any
But
question?
before we go on, oh,
Yes.
okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I
go
don't
ahead,
know how
Michelle.
this goes. Do we just interrupt? I'm so sorry.
Absolutely, please.
Okay, sorry. So when we have the vital reserve, so say, you know, a typical day, you've got stressors that are coming in, and then that person takes the time to do yoga or to meditate. That's replenishing that vital reserve, right? That's bringing money back into the account, right?
If, yes, I'm going to caveat that. On paper, yes. On paper, yes. But if I'm sitting in my yoga class, worried about my bank account, worried about the fight I'm going to have with my partner when I get home, worried about the to-do list, worried about my children, worried about my aging parent.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And also, yes, yoga puts back in, but how much? Kind of pennies, right? And if we are in an exhaustive state and we're really, really, really in debt, does yoga put anything in, or is yoga costing money at that point?
Okay.
Yep. Great question, though, Michelle. Like, I totally see where you're at. And this is why it's important to test, because if I'm just a health coach and I'm like, do yoga because it'll relax you, I might be doing more harm than good to a person who's really, really, really exhaustive, and for whom even yoga is pushing it.
I didn't know that. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, great, Michelle. M and then Abby.
I have two things. I'll be really quick. I just want to tell you guys, like, it's so cool to get this on a different level and to be at a different point and further, like, because I'm listening to you, Elizabeth, and it's just landing on such a deeper level because of all the work I've put in. So for those of you that are at the beginning or the middle, just trust this process. The school is beautiful the way that it is. It's a beautiful. That landed on such a deep, deep level for me. So thank you so much for this topic. And I just want to talk to the yoga. I actually do have a background of a lot of yoga. And what I want to say to that as somebody that is extremely exhausted and has no hormones is I love restorative and yin yoga. There is no part of me that wants to be doing Ashtanga. If you say chaturanga one more time, I'll probably punch your face, right? But restorative and yin yoga for me,
Do not make me go to hot yoga ever. I would rather eat my foot off than go to hot yoga.
Hot yoga is, as a pitta, hot yoga and a double fire sign, hot yoga is the worst thing that you could tell me to do.
Yeah.
So it's like everything else in FDN, it's bio-individual and it's meeting the client where they're at. So I have not been able to exercise, you guys. Like, I am totally failing as my client. And
that happens, don't worry.
And I'm exhausted and I'm tired, but I have thought I will try a gentle yoga with my daughter because she moved out. And so for me, that will be meeting many stress reduction things. So
Sure.
it's really about meeting your client where they're at, Michelle. And if they are super exhausted, I agree with Elizabeth that no, that yoga might not be. But if they are at a place that is what helps them, then that's what you go with. And that's
if it's restorative yoga or yin yoga, absolutely. Those things are very, very gentle. But
right.
in America, we like to just like yoga at 100%. You know, we're all about power yoga. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of power yoga, and I'm a massage therapist for 24 years, and yin yoga is the one I always tell my clients to do because that is what stretches your fascia. So if they're dealing with any kind of structural problems, yin is the one. But I agree that with this whole like American Hollywood yoga, like I would love to see yoga redefined in our country as what it really was, you know. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah.
So
yes, let's not get down a yoga rabbit hole because we could talk about that forever. But
I'm sorry. I actually just raised my hand to tell you thank you because this landed on a very deep level, and I love you and I appreciate you.
Amazing. Thanks, Abby, and then Stacia.
Okay, so I'm trying not to jump ahead about the stages of HPA dysregulation, but I'm just trying to understand this because I was thinking that when vital reserve is gone, like your vital reserve bank account is empty, that's failure. But you're saying that you're actually in debt. And like, when does that debt, that's when you go into compensatory?
I don't know. I don't know that we can take this metaphor that literally, but certainly just like we can live in a state of debt for a long, long time in society, your body can live in a state of debt for a long, long time. It will eventually come to the point where it can't, and that equals death. But nobody who's coming to you as a client is going to be there yet. They may be in debt, but they're not going to be to the point of nearly dying because of it. Yeah. So,
okay.
yeah.
And I think I'm thinking about this too literally, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like, let's push it. Let's see where the limits are. But yeah, I don't think that we can take debt as death, because we, there's credit. There's credit. We can live on credit for a long time.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Abby. That's a great question. Stacia and then Alyssa.
Yeah, I just want to restate kind of what it's so neat to come back, like to start again. I've watched some recordings of this, but it's just not the same. Or you're just picking up little pieces to help prepare for the practicals.
I'm loving this, you guys. I am loving that some of you who are veterans are back for the beginning and that it's landing so well with you. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just with all the cancers and surgeries, that some of y'all know I've had. And then all of a sudden I look, I'm like, oh my God, I got to do 38 hours of CPE in the next 2 months. And so yeah, I'm just still, but it's just great starting this again and seeing what little gaps I have to really focus on. And the yoga thing. Well, I think yoga, I think pain.
Yeah.
It just hurts to get in those positions. And in my gym, I have power yoga, and I'm like, and my yoga teacher was like, "What the heck is that? It's not meant to be a workout."
It isn't, only in America. Only in America.
Yeah, only America has like turned yoga into a marathon event.
And also, like, here's the last point on yoga, because I really don't want to get down a yoga rabbit hole, but yoga was invented in India for men by men. Was not invented for female bodies. And so you'll notice that, like, in a lot of these poses, there's no place to comfortably put your boobs. Like, you have to kind of, because it wasn't designed for us. And there's all of this kind of like rooting and being still, like rooting and rising. That is a very masculine thing, is to root and ground and be still. Feminine energy likes to sway and flow and be a bit more like water. And there's that is in yoga, sort of, but really it's not, because it's made for masculine bodies and for masculine energy, which I just find amazing. Yeah.
But it's also, just the hips. I mean, just way we are structurally built. We're not built like men. We got all this, of course, then they got stuff down there we don't have, but the poses are designed for them to make them comfortable with their externals, and we got all this internal and tight hips and wide hips and to make babies.
Yep.
I hadn't thought about it like that. Thank you.
Thanks, Stacia. Alyssa.
Hello. So I actually wanted to go back to what Michelle was commenting on, not in the yoga side of it, but I think from what I was hearing was I think the question was kind of being asked potentially about, making deposits back into the bank kind of at a nervous system reset potential. So those being examples of, could we also throw out there things like, if somebody, like we were talking about earlier, like the people, it depends on who the people are that you're working with. I mean, if you love to knit, or if you like to have a cup of tea and watch the birds, play in the bird bath in the morning, or whatever your jam is. I know it might only add pennies, but I would imagine that these could be simple, because then in those moments, if you can truly disconnect from the bills that are due, the relationship issue, I'm feeling like there's enough of a deposit to make it worth the while of your time, to dedicate the time in your life to prioritize it, I suppose. Would that be accurate?
You got it. You 100% got it. That's it. That's it. And where that comes from, sort of coming back to our ancestral root, is that there is this idea, I think, that our ancestors were working nonstop from the time that they got up to the time that they went to bed. They were like outrunning tigers, and they were making clothes, and they were like cooking, and they were doing all the things, and that they were exhausted, that they were overworked and exhausted, and that's why they didn't live very long. It's because their lives were very difficult. And their lives were absolutely very difficult. I do not want to downplay that. Their lives were super difficult. And they lived in community. There was nobody living in their own individual house with just their own spouse and their own child and their own dog, who had to be responsible for their own food and their own money and their own security. Like, humans recognized very early on that to have to provide for all of your needs to survive in this world is incredibly stressful and very difficult, and that the best way to do this, to ensure survival for everyone, is to have very strong communities. And so, yes, they had to do a lot of really hard things. They went out and they hunted, and they put themselves in danger, and they got hurt, and they got lost, and they were exposed to the elements, and they were exposed to famine. But when they came back home, there was such a bond of trust. There was a nervous system reset that allowed them to really move through the trauma of what they had just been through, to come home and be seen and be held and to relax. And there have been anthropological studies done of these Paleolithic societies. And what they have discovered is that those people worked 15 to 20 hours a week. How many of you work 15 to 20 hours a week? Not me. I'm working 40 plus, right? So already, you know, and that they actually relaxed for long portions of the day so that they were up and working, yes, but then they came and sat down and they had something to eat. They came and sat down and they told stories. They came and sat down and they, you know, played with the kids. Or I don't know. I don't know what they did. But because of that, it is estimated that they spent up to 10 hours a day sitting, relaxing. They were not up and working and engaged the way that we are from the time that they woke up to the time that they went to bed. And they went to bed a lot earlier. They went to bed much earlier. So they had a lot more downtime than we did. And they spent it in community where they were hanging out with each other. So I just want to bring that to the forefront as well, that our bodies are expecting these big stressors, but really short and occasional. And we are now living outside of that with the way that we have designed our lives. The stressors are constantly coming at us. And that means that we're constantly spending out of that bank account. And it becomes a game of how fast can I put it in to make sure that we still have money left in the bank at the end of the day. Yes, Paula, and then Kathy.
So just a little comment. I went to Greece a couple months ago, and one of the islands I chose to go to is called Ikaria. And I went there because it's a blue zone.
Yep.
And what they know that we have forgotten is to slow down and enjoy a meal, enjoy your community. And so
hang
that
out
just
with each
tags
other.
on.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's one of the 10 things that those 5-7 blue zones in the world have in common. And what you were just talking about is so critical to living longer and better. So that's all I have to say.
I love that, Paula. I actually traveled to Okinawa at the end of last year. I don't even remember when. But
that's on my list of places to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the same. Okinawa is a blue zone. And most of the blue zones are islands. And the reason that is important is because islands are not as vulnerable to infiltration by other cultures as mainlands are. And so islands, particularly if they are remote, are insulated and their culture remains unbroken. And so even though there are a lot of foreigners that live in Okinawa at this point, there is an incredible base of ancestral living that is still the same as if you walked there in 6,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago. They are doing the same things that they were doing then. And it is incredible to see that and understand, oh, well, that's why they're living longer. They're doing Tai Chi together in the mornings, and then they're having breakfast, and then they're all walking the kids to school. And then the older folks are hanging out while the younger ones are working. And then the younger ones come back and bring stuff for the old folks. Everybody has dinner together. Like they're not watching TV. They're not like wondering what happened on Perfect Match. They're not worried about what's in their bank accounts. And that's the difference. I think we are understanding the vital reserve concept. That's great. And we are understanding that our bodies are designed for a stress level that's much lower than what we currently have. Does everybody understand that? All right. Anybody have any questions about that? Because this can be a hard thing sometimes. Okay, great. Then I want to talk next about the concept of homeostasis. Anyone want to tell me what homeostasis is?
Should I just go? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Diana. You're good.
Okay, it's the body's ability to restore balance regardless of what is happening, or its desire to maintain balance.
Fantastic. And so what does it use to maintain balance?
It's the ability to balance that catabolic and anabolic processes.
Yep, that's good, Jody. You said it, Daniela, vital reserve. It's using vital reserve. So I want you to visualize this process. Oh, Deborah T. It's okay. I understand. We love you. Okay, so I want you to visualize this process as this hairband. Can you all see this hairband? Okay, this hairband is perfect. It's like perfectly round. It's stretchy. And it's in really good condition. This is us when our vital reserve bank account is full. And sometimes we have to stretch to meet a stressor. Right? So we're stretching, 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 stretching. We can stretch a lot to meet the stressor. But when that stressor is over, we come right back to the shape. We come right back to our original shape. We're good. Now, if I constantly put pressure on this rubber band and never let it up, never fully let it up, I'm just sort of in a process of like in and out, in and out, in and out, then sooner or later it gets to look like this, which is kind of stretched out. It's not able to snap back to its original shape. This is what happens when we don't go back into balance. This is what happens when we have a stressor, which we call allostatic load. This is allostatic load, is the pressure I'm putting on this rubber band. And then its ability to bounce back is its ability to come back to homeostasis. Right? So we want this like beautiful, perfectly round shape to come back. That would be balance. That would be back in homeostasis. But most of us, over the course of too many stressors born for too long, bring us to this shape where we're still able to stretch, but we're not able to bounce back. We're not able to bounce back because we don't have the vital reserve to bring us back into balance. All right. So any questions on that before we move into this concept of homeostasis? Okay. So this is where it all ties back together with energy, is that the body wants to deal with the stressor with just the perfect amount of energy, not too much, not too little, just the right amount of energy, because energy is the most critical resource that the body has. Again, we don't know if there are going to be the inputs to make more. So we have to use what we have wisely. So we have to be really efficient at using energy. And this is homeostasis. And so I want to give you the example of driving your car down the highway. So if you're driving your car down the highway, you want to go, you're all going to fight me on this, but you're going to want to go like 55 on the highway. That's where you're using really efficient gas mileage. That's where you're going to get the most high performance out of your car. You don't want to go 35 because you become a danger to everybody else on the highway when you're going too slow. Like that's not good. Bad things are going to happen. And you don't want to go too fast because you're just burning through the resource of gas. You're burning through your tires. You're burning through your brakes. You're burning through the life of your car when you're going too fast. So then you have allostatic pressure, a stressor. Let's say somebody's road raging behind you. And so you're trying to get around them. So you're going to push the gas pedal, push your accelerator to go as fast as you can. Now your body is going to say, exactly how much do I need to press this accelerator to escape this threat? How fast do I have to go? Because if I can escape this threat going 75, I'm not going to go 125. I'm going to go 75 to escape this threat. And then as soon as I'm around that threat, now I want to pull back to 55. So the body is sort of constantly searching for what is the energy expenditure that I need to get past this particular threat. And the better the body is at guessing that the more efficient we are as people. So what this looks like sort of on the court is that when I'm sitting here in this chair, I'm expending a certain amount of energy, but my body has to be ready for me at any moment to get up and do something. And that range of activities could be that I might just get up and walk down the hall and go to the bathroom. I might get up, walk down the stairs, which is going to require more energy, walk outside the house, get the mail, come back in. Or I might jump out my second-story window here and sprint down the street to get away from an intruder, or like to save my dog's life or something. My body has to be ready for any of that. It has to be flexible enough to be ready for any of those eventualities while still only using the exact requisite amount of energy in any given moment. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, great. So what happens is that let's just say that I get up here. Hopefully I can get up and still be on camera. Yeah, okay. So I got up. Now my body is like, okay, I gotta like put in a bunch of up regulators right now. I need up regulators, up regulators, up regulators, up regulators. Because it's prepared for me to do any of those things that I just laid out. I could be walking down the hall. I could be walking outside. I could be running outside to pull a coyote off my dog, right? Any of those things I got to be prepared to do. The body doesn't know. And it doesn't want to waste energy while it's waiting for me to figure it out. So it doesn't want to give me all the energy I need to fight a coyote if I'm not about to go fight a coyote, right? But I might be about to fight a coyote, so it has to be there in reserve, ready for me to do that. So what happens is that we produce all of these upregulators, and then the body binds them, binds most of them, and makes them inactive. So this is the cortisol-cortisone question. And we're going to get into cortisol next week when we start talking about cortisol and the phases and all of that. And then we'll do sex hormones and everything. But, you know, my body's going to produce these upregulators, and then it's going to bind most of them. And then if my circumstances change and I do more than get up, I walk down the stairs, then more upregulators will become available out of what was produced. If I walk outside and get the mail, more upregulators will become available from what I produced. If I have to go outside and fight the coyote to save my dog, then more upregulators will be available. And that's how the body is able to calculate with such precision the exact amount of energy input it needs for each moment. And this is what we refer to as metabolic adaptability. Is how well do I shift gears from sitting in this chair to fighting a coyote? And then how well do I shift gears to come back down from that experience? So any questions on this concept? You guys all got this. Okay. So in this course, we sort of combine the ideas of homeostasis and allostasis. So homeostasis is the perfect bubble or hairband that we all come back to. Allostasis is the stress that I'm putting on this hairband. So the stress on the hairband, or like how fast do I have to drive the car to get away from the threat? That's allostasis. And we sort of combine this by saying, look, homeostasis is looking for this point of like exactly how far do I have to stretch? Exactly how fast do I have to drive the car? Exactly how many upregulators do I need to produce to be in this moment, but ready for any moment? So to give the car example, to go back to the car example, if I have a sports car, for example, that's capable of going 150 miles an hour, I'm not going to drive at 150 miles an hour all the time. Why? You'll burn it out. I'll burn it out, Yeah, I'm going to run through tires. I'm going to run through the timing belts. I'm going to run through the engine. I'm going to run through gas at a really higher rate. I'm going to have all of these repair bills, and the life of the car is going to be shorter. This is directly applicable to your body as the car. If you are running your body too fast, you're going to be running through all of its metabolic energy, all of its reserve, and you will shorten the life of your vehicle over time. And that's why we don't want to do that. So I need to be able to go 125 when it is absolutely necessary, when I have a deadline, when the cops are chasing me, when I'm having a fight with somebody, when I need to be able to do a gymnastics routine, for example. But I don't want to be going 125 all the time. That's when we get into trouble. We can't sustain that. So I know, I hope the cops will never chase me too. And I guess, like, in all honesty, I would not run away from the cops if they were, if they were trying to pull me over, would not outrun the cops. But just for this example, being on the road. Okay, so
all right, I just had to say this really quick so it didn't confuse anyone. I know a lot of you actually ended up tuning in late, so no problem. Welcome. We're just finishing up. There's another 10 minutes in this Hot Topics replay, so this is something that is not required in the FDN curriculum. You actually never have to attend these. You never have to watch these on replay to graduate from FDN. But they are just useful resources to help break down the curriculum in a simpler way for you, so I hope that you guys got some of that today. But it's so funny because I commented this thing here, right? Because she cracked me up with how casually she said the cops thing. I'm like, not Elizabeth running from the cops. So I know it looks like she might have responded to me, but someone must have replied that same day. That is complete coincidence. So just know this is pre-recorded, and I'll be back with you live in about 10 minutes.
That's what we're really trying to figure out with our testing is like, okay, how fast is the car going? How fast does the car need to go? And how do I pull it back so that we can lengthen the life of the car so that the parts last longer, so that it is less expensive to operate in general. All right. Questions on vital reserve, energy, homeostasis, any of those things? No questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So not to keep kind of having the same kind of question, but I just don't understand. It seems like it's so hard to replenish the vital reserve because everything that you described of like the blue zones and what life used to be like, we're having clients that honestly are going to come to us and be like, yeah, that's not my life. I can't do that. Right. And like have those ongoing stresses all the time.
Yep.
So I think as an FDN, my question is and I know people's results and the individual will really come into play, but like, what are my best practices to replenish that vital reserve so that I know pennies add up, but to really give them the resources?
Yeah, pennies do add up. And I just want to say that we as health practitioners cannot fix systemic issues. We cannot fix the fact that community now doesn't look like it did 150 years ago. We can't fix that. Just like I know all of you out there want to do good in the world and you want to help people who can't afford your services. And so I know a lot of you who are like, I want to be in underserved communities and I want to charge, 50 cents for my services so everyone can afford it. Yes, I get that impulse, but we also cannot fix systemic issues with our business. We can't fix those problems. The business is there to make money. And then what we do with money is we try to fix systemic issues, right? So I'm saying this to help you alleviate the burden of, I have to fix everything for this person. I have to figure out how to get them community. I have to figure out how to help them afford the labs. I have to feel these are bigger issues than what we individually as practitioners can solve with our services or with our business. Okay.
Yep.
So our job is to find where those other stressors are. And I'm not saying that like if somebody has no friends that we can't be like, hey, you should go like meet some people. What do you like to do? Go pursue some hobbies, you know, bring some people into your life. Because we all have to be invested in the outcome of our own lives. It is really, sorry, I'm going to go on another tangent here, but I feel like this needs to be
I feel like I
said.
pulled them out of you.
That's okay. And I'm sorry for this tangent, but I feel like this needs to be said, is that we live in a competitive environment. We do not live in a cooperative environment. And that comes with a lot of perils to our mental health and our physical health. The world is going to give you every reason to believe that you are invisible. Because if you sit down, if you just go ahead and sit down, then that is so much easier for me than trying to make you sit down. And now I have less competition as I'm running to the finish line, right? So the world out there is going to tell you that you're invisible. But guys, you cannot co-sign on your own invisibility. You can't do it. You have to be invested in the outcome of your life. And your clients cannot co-sign on their own invisibility. They have to be invested in the outcome of their lives. So if you have a client that says, hey, I don't have any community, it's not your job to solve it. But you can say like, look, you've got to be invested in the outcome here. Your life matters. And if what that means is you got to go join the astronomy club down the street, or you have to go to the coffee shop every afternoon and work so that you can see other human beings and have people who know you, like they know your order and they see you, they know where you like to sit, that's better than nothing, right? That's better than nothing. You've got to be invested in the outcome of your own life. Otherwise, you're not going to make it out of the sick bed. You're never going to make the impact in the world that you want to. You've got to be invested in the outcome for yourself. And your clients have to be invested in the outcome for themselves. So all of this to say that you cannot solve these systemic issues, Michelle, but you can give them those types of nuggets. And pennies do add up, because it's not just the one penny that you're giving them. You're not just giving them like, hey, you should go to yoga. You're also saying, let's get rid of all of the chemicals in your environment, and let's get rid of the alcohol, and let's get rid of the sugar, and let's make sure you're sleeping. And like, you're giving them a lot more pennies than just one. And that's how we eventually put money back in the Vital Reserve Bank account.
Yep. I knew that the dress was what, was applied there, but it's more of like that stress, but that really actually resonated with me of like, my job is to really just educate them like you're educating us. And then they are really the ones that need to take that control and that power and decide what stresses are worth it to keep going and what aren't. And
that's correct. That's correct. Like, they have to be invested in the outcome. You cannot hold their hands to health.
Yeah. That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Michelle. Sophia, you are next, and then Daniela, and then Jody.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is there a point of busyness or stress that your body can be in that it's difficult for your body to send signals that you need rest? Like if you are always active or your job demands a lot from you, um, obviously everyone needs an amount of sleep and you'll feel tired, but will your body get into a way of maybe not even knowing, or you're doing too much? Like it's almost like you have to force yourself to rest because it's the best thing, but your body's not really sending those signals like I feel tired or I feel overpushed.
Are you speaking about yourself?
I could be like if I'm an active person, but I mean like in general, like if someone has like a really active job or they do night shifts and they're throughout the day, all these different things. But is it that your body can get to a point where it's not able to send those signals of rest?
This is what I think is that the body is going to keep going for as long as it can. It's not going to be like, oh, hey, if we keep going at this pace, I'm going to have nothing in 5 years. I'm going to have nothing in 10 years. We're going to age badly. We're going to have wrinkles early. It's not going to do that. So it's going to assume that this stressor is very time limited and it's going to give everything it has to get through it. And so I think that what actually happens is that we're able to mask these things of being tired and not having enough rest way better in the beginning. And then as time goes on and we don't rest, the body gets louder and louder and louder, signaling that you have to stop and rest. I would say generally that is what happens. Does that make sense? Okay. Yep. And I think that we are also really good at ignoring the signals from our body because they start off subtle and then they have to get louder and louder and louder for you to pay attention to them. And for some of us, and I'm talking about myself here, that looked like I can't get out of bed for longer than 2 hours a day before I really got serious about fixing these things. Okay, awesome. So then I think that we are done with module 1, right? We're done with vital reserve, homeostasis, all of that. Perfect. So we're going to move along next week to module 2. I expect to spend a couple weeks here because we'll spend 1 week talking about cortisol and circadian pattern and all that. And we'll spend another week looking at the chart of the phases.
All right. We are finished up with that one. Let me see if I can maximize myself. Perfect. So thank you guys for having tuned into this Hot Topics. I loved this comment from Dawn. This is exactly what we wanted you guys to get out of this. So Dawn had said, if this is what the Hot Topics are, what a great extra learning tool. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to understand what this is. Yes. And guys, if it is your first day tuning in by any chance, this is what the Discovery Series is all about. I will say this a million times. I will continue to say it until everyone gets it. We believe that there are people out there looking for this course naturally and don't know it yet. We just think that there's people out there looking for it and don't realize it yet. So the best thing that we can do, and probably the most ethical, mind you, is play our stuff for free. Show people for free. People's time's valuable, but that's literally the only thing that you wasted is a little bit of time, right? And then you get to make a decision as to whether or not this course is a good fit for what you're looking for. I am very jealous of the Hot Topics. When I went through this program 9 years ago, the trainee group did not even exist. So you didn't even get added to a trainee group on Facebook. That was not a thing, let alone there was no Hot Topics. Elizabeth actually graduated after me. She just obviously took the curriculum stuff and that level of expertise to the next level. That's why she does that. And what's really cool about Elizabeth, for those that don't know, I find this so interesting. So she was some type of art major in college, but both of her parents are and were professors in their lives. So I'm like, how cool is that she somehow still ended up in this teaching role? I don't know if that can be a genetic thing. I don't understand how it would be, but maybe there's something to it because even not going to school for it, she still ended up in this teaching role. So that was pretty great. Holly said, thank you. Cool. And Holly, I don't know if you were on earlier. I don't think you got to catch this. I made sure. So Elizabeth's presentation at 5 o'clock Eastern today, if you are able to be on, Holly, if you can only catch the replay, that's fine as well. We're doing a presentation from her, but then in the Q&A, we are going to show the intake forms because I know that you had asked about that last week. So for those that are interested in our intake forms, we're going to make sure to have that for you guys today after Elizabeth's presentation. That starts at 5 o'clock Eastern. Again, for those that are unaware of how to get some of the replays, I mentioned this in the beginning of the session. The replays are free. Well, Ev, how do I get them? There are some direct links that you guys get sent in your email. If you're not good with that or get confused, no worries. Here's the easy way to do it. Please make sure you go to the bottom right of the screen and subscribe to our YouTube. I greatly appreciate it. It does help our stuff out. And also, remember, these live events are going to go away in December. We're not going to have this crazy amount of sessions that we're doing. So if you're someone who likes this live stuff, I actually do 3 live podcasts a week on average for FDN. We also do lab reviews, lab and learns. All of it's free. And it's what we do for our podcast. So that's all hosted on our YouTube channel. So please make sure you're subscribed if you like stuff like this. We can show you that in the future then once we're done Black Friday stuff. What was I going to say? Gosh, this is so bad. I'm losing my mind today. And I'm caffeinated as well. I thought that would help me out for this Monday. It's not helping out so much. Let's go to the comments here and see what we got. Holly said, thanks for the reminder. Yeah, no problem. Mia said, I love all of Elizabeth's Hot Topics. Even as a graduate, I still learn from Elizabeth. That is a pretty cool compliment. So thank you for sharing that. I'll make sure she gets it in our channel here. I seriously will send her a screenshot. I already sent her the one from Dawn. So it's very encouraging. You know, it helps keep us going. You never know how many people are listening necessarily. So to know that people care when we do this stuff, it means the world. I will see you guys though at 5 o'clock Eastern. Rest of the week, please, on your schedules, block this off somehow if you have not blocked it off already. The case studies are going to be some of the best content that we have all month. I promise you guys. Like literally, you can put it in the chat when we get there if you do not agree with me on that. But tomorrow, Ryan Monahan will be presenting a thyroid case study. I can tell you the exact time for that in just a moment. That is going to be at none other than 3 o'clock Eastern. So 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be doing a case study. That one's going to be awesome. Tuesday, we will no longer have a case study just because she's okay, but a pretty serious event happened to our speaker in the last week. And so we cannot ask her to do that. That'd be ridiculous. And so we will not have one on Tuesday of this week. That's Wednesday. I'm sorry. Tuesday's tomorrow. So that's Ryan. Wednesday, nothing. Thursday, we're going to have Jennifer Woodward on also at 3 o'clock Eastern. And that will be on peptides and perimenopause. And then Friday, we have one at 1 o'clock Eastern. And that is with the wonderful Bria Gadd, AKA, she calls herself the Period Whisperer on Instagram. That is her brand name. So we will be doing that. We have a full week of case studies for you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you at 5 o'clock Eastern tonight when Elizabeth is going to be kind of presenting the FDN methodology, doing a whole talk on cortisol as well. And then we will have a Q&A, the first of which, in terms of the questions, will be going into our intake form. So I will see you guys then, and thank you for having watched this hot top. Oh, I'm a liar. That's what I was going to say, how to get the replays. If you're on our YouTube, I didn't just ask you to subscribe for no reason. If you are on our YouTube channel, under the live tab, so not videos, not shorts, under the live tab, you will actually be able to see all of the sessions we've done so far this month, and you can click on them right now, right after this, and choose whichever ones you want to watch. I know that the keynote is on there. That was on November 10th, so you can check that out, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys later. Thank you.